Okay, stop everything you're doing right now. Let me ask you a question. What if I told you that a tiny paper plane, something that costs maybe 50 bucks to make, could bankrupt the richest country on earth? You would say, that is the dumbest thing I have ever heard. Fair enough. But what if I told you it is actually happening right now, in real life? Not in a movie, not in a video game, in the real world. There is a country called Iran. Iran is not rich. Iran is not the biggest military power. Iran does not have fancy jets or aircraft carriers or space lasers. But Iran has a plan. A plan so clever, so sneaky, and so simple that it is giving the United States of America, the most powerful country in the history of the world, a massive, massive headache. And the craziest part? The whole plan starts with a cheap little drone that costs less than a used car. Sounds wild, right? Let me break it down for you. Here is the topic in one breath. Iran does not want to beat America with muscles. Iran wants to beat America with math. That is it. That is the whole game. This is not a fist fight. This is a brain fight. And honestly, Iran is playing it really, really smart. Let me show you how. All right, let us start with the star of the show. Meet the Shahad drone. Now, when you hear the word drone, you probably think of those little buzzy things people fly in parks to take cool videos, right? The Shahad is kind of like that, except it goes boom. Here is what makes it special. Each Shahad drone costs about $50,000. That sounds like a lot, but in military terms, that is pocket change. That is like buying a candy bar when everyone else is buying a Ferrari. Some versions cost even less, as low as $35,000. Now here is the wild part. Iran makes about 500 of these drones every single day. 500 every day. Right now, experts think Iran has about 80,000 of these drones ready to go. 80,000. And these little guys, they are not toys. One single Shahad drone can destroy an oil field. It can knock out a water plant. It can wreck a hotel. It can do serious, serious damage. Oh, and they are tiny. You can fit a whole bunch of them on the back of a regular truck. A truck that can drive anywhere, hide anywhere, and launch from anywhere. So Iran has a cheap, easy to make, easy to hide weapon that it can use thousands and thousands of times. Now, how does America defend against this? America uses something called THAAD. That stands for Terminal High Altitude Area Defense. Big fancy name, right? Think of it like a giant robot goalkeeper. It sits in one spot, watches the sky, and tries to shoot down anything coming its way. Sounds cool, but here is the problem. Each THAAD missile costs about $1 million. $1 million. So picture this. A $50,000 drone is flying toward you. You fire a $1 million missile at it. That is like using a diamond sword to swat a mosquito. But wait, it gets worse. These missiles miss sometimes, so you might need to fire 2 or 3 missiles at one single drone. That means America could be spending $2 to $3 million to stop something that cost Iran $50,000. Let us put that in kid terms. Imagine your friend throws a water balloon at you. That water balloon cost him 10 cents. You block it with a gold-plated shield that costs you $500. And sometimes the shield does not even work, so you need 2 or 3 shields per balloon. Who runs out of money first? You do, obviously. And that is exactly Iran's plan. Oh, and one more thing. The THAAD system is huge, like really huge. It cannot move around easily. It is slow. It just sits there like a big, fat target. So Iran can easily spot where these systems are and attack them directly. And when one of these systems gets destroyed, that is hundreds of millions of dollars gone. Poof. Keep it simple. Checkpoint. Iran's drones are cheap, tiny, and there are thousands of them. America's defense missiles are super expensive, slow, and sometimes miss. Every time Iran spends $1, America spends 60. Iran wins the money game. Now here's where the real story begins. You are probably thinking, come on, America is smart. America landed on the moon. America invented the iPhone. Why cannot they just build cheap drones and cheap defenses too? Great question. And the answer is kind of sad, kind of funny, and kind of scary. It all goes back to something called the Cold War. The Cold War was this long period, like 50 years, where America and Russia were basically in a staring contest. They both had nuclear weapons. Weapons so powerful they could blow up the entire planet. So they could never actually fight each other Because if one side started a real war, both sides would use nuclear bombs and everyone would die. Game over, no winners. So what did they do instead? They flexed, they showed off. Look at my giant aircraft carrier. Oh yeah? Look at my massive bomber jet. Well, look at my super expensive missile system. It was like two kids in school who never actually fight, but keep showing up with bigger and bigger lunch boxes to impress everyone. The weapons were not really built to win wars. They were built to look scary, to make the other side say, whoa, I am not messing with that guy. And that mindset, that build big, build shiny, build expensive mindset, got stuck. It became the American way of doing military stuff. But there is another reason, and this one is ugly. Corruption. See, when the military buys a missile that costs $1 million, a lot of people in the middle get a cut of that money. The companies that build the missile, the politicians who approve the deal, the generals who sign off on it. If the missile only cost $1,000, their cut would be tiny. But if it costs $1 million, their cut is huge. So nobody in the system actually wants cheap weapons. Cheap weapons mean less money for them. It is like a school canteen owner who sells samosas for $500 each. Sure, it is ridiculous, but he makes a ton of profit. Why would he ever switch to selling them for $10? He would not, even if the $10 samosa works just fine. And that is why America is stuck with expensive, slow, flashy weapons in a world where cheap, fast, and simple is winning. Keep it simple, checkpoint. America built weapons to look scary during the Cold War, not to fight cheap drone wars. And powerful people make money from expensive weapons. So nobody wants to change the system. It is a trap they built for themselves. Okay, now let us talk about something most people completely ignore. Water? Yeah, plain old water. The stuff you drink, shower with, and splash your siblings with. In most of the world, water is not a big deal. You turn on the tap, water comes out, easy. But in the Middle East, water is everything. Let me give you some numbers that will blow your mind. There is this thing called water stress. It basically measures how much water a country uses compared to how much nature gives it. If you are at 100%, that means you are using every single drop nature provides. Not great, but okay. If you are below 100%, you are chilling. You have extra water. No worries. Now, if you go above 100%, that means you are using more water than nature gives you. You are basically borrowing water that does not exist naturally. You need machines to make it. Countries like Canada and Brazil, they are way below tons of water, not that many people. Life is good. Now, look at the Middle East. Egypt, 6,420%. Read that again, 6,420%. Saudi Arabia, 883%. Bahrain, almost 4,000%. And Dubai, are you ready for this? 17,000%. 17,000%. Let me put this in kid terms. Imagine your house naturally gets one tiny cup of water per day from rain, but your family uses 17,000 cups a day. Where does all that extra water come from? Machines. Giant machines called desalination plants. These machines take salty ocean water and turn it into fresh drinking water. Without these machines, these countries literally cannot survive. No drinking water, no farming, no showers, no life. Now, remember those cheap little Shahad drones Iran has? What if Iran uses those drones to blow up the desalination plants? One drone, $50,000. And suddenly, millions of people have no water. Iran does not need to fight a single American soldier. It does not need to beat a single American jet. It just needs to break the water machines. No water, no life, game over. That is the water bomb. And that is why this whole situation is so scary. Keep it simple. Checkpoint. Middle Eastern countries survive on machines that make fresh water from the ocean. Without those machines, they are done. Iran can destroy those machines with cheap drones. Water is the real weapon here. Now, before you think Iran is sitting pretty with no problems of their own, let me tell you something. Iran has cracks too, big ones. First, water. Iran's water stress is at 72%. That is not as insane as Dubai's 17,000%, but it is still really bad. And here is proof. There is a lake in northern Iran called Lake Urmia. It used to be the 6th largest saltwater lake in the entire world. Massive, beautiful, full of water. That was in 1984. Fast forward 20 years. By 2004, the lake had almost completely dried up. You could literally walk across what used to be deep water, just dust and cracked earth where a giant lake used to be. That is how serious Iran's water problem is. And guess what? America and Israel know this. They know it very well, and they have a plan to use it. Here's the second crack. Iran is not just one group of people. Iran has Persians in the center, but it also has Kurds, Arabs, Turks, and about 10 other ethnic groups. Especially along the borders, these groups sometimes feel closer to the neighboring countries than to Iran itself. Imagine a big house with 11 different families living in it. Some of these families actually like the neighbors next door more than the other families inside the house. Now imagine someone cuts off the water supply to the house. What happens? Chaos. Everyone fights everyone, and that is exactly America and Israel's plan. Step 1, dry up Iran's water, attack their water sources. Step 2, turn the different ethnic groups against each other. Step 3, break Iran into tiny pieces that fight each other over water forever. No more unified Iran, no more threat. Just a bunch of small groups too busy fighting each other to cause any trouble. It is a dark plan, a really dark plan. And that is exactly why nobody talks about it publicly. Because if you said it out loud, people would ask, why? What did Iran ever do to deserve having their entire civilization destroyed? But quietly, behind closed doors, this is the strategy. Keep it simple. Checkpoint. America and Israel's plan against Iran is simple but cruel. Dry up their water, split up their people, and let them fight each other forever. Divide and destroy. Okay, so now you know America's plan against Iran, but Iran is not just sitting there waiting to be destroyed. Iran has a counter move, and it is bold. Let me explain. In the Muslim world, there are two main groups, Sunni and Shia. Think of it like two fan clubs that follow the same sport but support different teams. Same religion, different traditions, different leaders. About 90% of Muslims worldwide are Sunni. That is roughly 2 billion people. Shia Muslims are the smaller group, and Iran is one of the very few countries in the world where most people are Shia. But here's the thing, Shia people do not just live in Iran. They are spread out across the world. Pakistan, Iraq, Bahrain, Lebanon, lots of places. Iran's first move, unite all Shia people everywhere against America. Create a global uprising. Get Shia communities in every country to stand up and push back against American influence. And guess what? It is already happening. Shia groups have stormed American embassies in Pakistan. They have attacked American embassies in Iraq. There are protests and clashes in multiple countries. This is not some future plan. It is happening right now. But Iran's even bigger move, this is the real chess play. Most Muslim countries, Sunni countries, are run by dictators, kings, military leaders, strongmen. And most of these dictators stay in power because America supports them. America gives them weapons, money, and protection. In return, these leaders do whatever America wants. But the people in those countries, they hate their governments. They feel crushed, ignored, oppressed. Iran's plan is to channel that anger, help the people rise up, overthrow the American-backed dictators, and when the dust settles, Iran becomes the leader, not just of the Shia world, but of the entire Muslim world. This dream has a name. It is called Pax Islamica. Think of it like an Islamic golden age where the Muslim world is united under one vision, free from American control. If that happens, America loses its grip on the Middle East forever. Keep it simple, checkpoint. Iran wants to unite Muslims worldwide. First the Shia, then everyone. Overthrow American-backed dictators. Create a united Islamic world. If it works, America loses the Middle East permanently. All right, here it is, the big one, the main plan. Everything we talked about, the drones, the water, the religious uprising, it all leads to this one goal: destroy the GCC. GCC stands for Gulf Cooperation Council. It is basically the club of rich Gulf countries: Saudi Arabia, UAE, Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, and Oman. Now, why is the GCC so important? Because the GCC is the engine that keeps America's economy running. And most people have absolutely no idea. Here is how it works. I will make it super simple. Step 1. GCC countries sell oil to the world. they sell it for US dollars. Not euros, not yen. US dollars. This is a big deal because it means everyone in the world needs US dollars to buy oil. That keeps the dollar strong and powerful. Step 2. Once the GCC countries get all these US dollars, what do they do with the money? They invest it. And where do they invest it? In the American stock market. The stock market is like America's giant piggy bank. It is where companies like Apple, Google, Nvidia, and Microsoft are valued. When people invest money into these companies, the companies grow. The piggy bank gets fatter. America gets richer. Since 2012, the amount of money flowing from GCC countries into the American stock market has been exploding. Billions and billions of dollars pouring in every year. In fact, there are about 7 companies in America, mostly tech and AI companies like Nvidia, Apple, Google, and Microsoft, that account for about a quarter of the stock market's growth. A quarter. Just 7 companies. And guess who is heavily invested in those 7 companies? You guessed it. The GCC countries. Now here's where Iran's plan becomes clear. What if Iran destroys the GCC? Not with soldiers, not with tanks, with drones, with water attacks, with chaos. If the GCC countries are under attack, they stop selling oil smoothly. The oil supply gets disrupted. They no longer have rivers of US dollars coming in. Whatever money they do have, they have to spend on protecting themselves, buying weapons, rebuilding, surviving. That means they stop investing in the American stock market. The money stops flowing into the piggy bank, and when the money stops flowing, the stock market crashes. Those 7 big companies, their value drops, investors panic, everyone starts pulling their money out, and when the stock market crashes, the entire American economy crashes with it. Think about it like this. Imagine a cricket team that has 7 superstar players. Fans only come to the games because of those 7 players. Sponsors only pay because of those 7 players. TV deals only exist because of those 7 players. Now imagine all 7 players quit at the same time. Fans leave, sponsors leave, TV deals collapse, the whole league falls apart. That is what happens if the GCC money stops flowing into America. Iran does not need to send a single soldier to American soil. It does not need to fire a single missile at New York or Washington. All it needs to do is break the chain, break the GCC, break the oil flow, break the dollar flow, break the stock market, break America's wallet. Keep it simple checkpoint. GCC countries sell oil for dollars and invest those dollars in American companies. If Iran destroys the GCC, the money stops. The stock market crashes. America's economy collapses. Iran's real target is not soldiers. It is the wallet. Now you might be thinking, okay, but would the rest of the world just sit and watch? No, not at all. See, Europe stopped buying oil and gas from Russia because of the Ukraine war. So where does Europe get its energy now? From the GCC, from Saudi Arabia, from the Gulf? If the GCC falls, Europe has no energy. Factories shut down, lights go off, economies collapse. So Europe has to join this fight on America's side. They have no choice. Their survival depends on it. What about Russia? Russia cannot allow Iran to fall, because if America and Israel successfully destroy Iran, guess who is next on the list? Russia. So Russia backs Iran, not because they are best friends, but because it is about survival. And China is playing it cool, staying neutral, watching from the sidelines. The Chinese system is set up in a way where they are okay with either outcome. Whoever wins, China will do business with them. So this is not just a Middle East problem. This Middle East conflict and the Ukraine war, they are connected. 2 different chessboards, but the same game, the same players, the same stakes, energy, water, money, power. That is what this is all about. All right, let us take a breath. Let us zoom out and look at the whole picture. On one side, you have America and Israel. Their plan, break Iran into pieces, dry up their water, turn their people against each other, keep the GCC safe, keep the money flowing, stay on top. On the other side, you have Iran. Their plan, use cheap drones to drain America's wallet, destroy GCC infrastructure, unite the Muslim world, cut off the money pipeline, crash the stock market, bring America to its knees without ever setting foot on American soil. 2 plans, 2 visions, completely opposite. And the wild part, both plans are already in motion right now. Now, as you read this is not a movie, there is no script, there is no guaranteed happy ending. The ending has not been written yet, and the outcome will not just affect Iran or America, it will affect every single country on this planet, your country, your city, your life, energy prices, food prices, job markets, everything is connected. So stay informed, stay curious, ask questions, do not just read headlines, understand the why behind the news. Because in a world this complicated, the most powerful weapon you can have is not a drone or a missile. It is understanding. Thanks for sticking with me through this one. If this opened your eyes even a little bit, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And follow along because we are just getting started. There is so much more to unpack, and I promise we will go deeper into every single piece of this puzzle. See you in the next one.